Here are the most recent deaths in the national news, as reported at Legacy.com in the third week of November 2024. Legacy.com is where you can find any obituary or publish an obituary in any newspaper in America and beyond. Baseball player Al Ferrara died November 15, 2024, at the age of 84. He was an outfielder in the 1960s and 70s, playing for the Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, and Cincinnati Reds. Ferrara is also being remembered for his acting career. While he was a Dodger, he also appeared in movies and in episodes of Gilligan's Island and Batman. Basketball player Bob Love died November 18, 2024, in Chicago. He died of cancer at the age of 81. He was an all-star forward for the Chicago Bulls in the 1960s and 70s, and his jersey number 10 was only the second ever to be retired by the team. Love is also being remembered for his later career as the team's community relations director and goodwill ambassador. Actor Paul Teal died November 15, 2024, after fighting pancreatic cancer at the age of 35. He was best known for his role on the TV drama One Tree Hill, playing Josh Avery. Teal is also being remembered for a long stage career in his hometown of Wilmington, North Carolina, as well as for appearing in the 2022 movie Dark Water. Musician Colin Petersen died November 18, 2024, from a fall at the age of 78. He was the original drummer for the Bee Gees in the 1960s, the first band member who was not a Gibb brother. Petersen is being remembered for playing on the band's early pop hits like Massachusetts and I Started a Joke. Musician Dennis Bryon died November 14, 2024, in Nashville, Tennessee, at the age of 75. He was the drummer for the Bee Gees during their 1970s era of massive disco stardom. Bryon is being remembered for playing on such number one hits as Jive Talkin', You Should Be Dancing, Night Fever, and Tragedy. Olympic gymnastics coach Bela Karolyi died November 15, 2024, in Houston at the age of 82. He was a controversial figure in the gymnastics world who elevated American gymnastics to international success, but was criticized by several athletes for coaching techniques they called abusive. Karolyi is being remembered for coaching such greats as Nadia Comaneci, Mary Lou Retton, and Carrie Strug. Mathematician Thomas Kurtz died November 12, 2024, in Lebanon, New Hampshire, at the age of 96. He was the co-inventor of the computer language BASIC, creating it while he was a professor at Dartmouth College. Kurtz is being remembered for helping inspire a love of coding and programming in a generation. Businessman Clifton R. Wharton Jr. died November 16, 2024, in New York City. He died of cancer at the age of 98. His groundbreaking life included several years as the president of Michigan State University, where he was the first black president of a major, predominantly white U.S. public research university. Wharton is also being remembered for many other accomplishments, including serving as CEO of the pension and financial services company TIAA-CREF and as Deputy Secretary of State under President Bill Clinton. Ballet dancer Vladimir Shklyarov died November 16, 2024, in St. Petersburg, Russia. He died from a fall at the age of 39. He was a star of Russia's Mariinsky Ballet, becoming one of the top ballet dancers of his time in the many years he danced there. Shklyarov is also being remembered for dancing on such prestigious stages as New York City's Metropolitan Opera House and London's Royal Opera House. Author Arthur Frommer died November 18, 2024, in New York City. He died of complications from pneumonia at the age of 95. He created the Frommer's brand of budget travel guides beginning in 1957 with Europe on $5 a day. He is being remembered for showing Americans that European travel was within their reach. Frommer was a U.S. Army veteran of the Korean War. Rapper and actor Saafir died November 19, 2024 in Oakland, California at the age of 54. Born Reggie Gibson, he appeared in the movie Menace to Society and was a key figure in the Bay Area hip-hop scene. Saafir is being remembered for his jazzy flow on records like Boxcar Sessions, his memorable 1994 debut. A note to remember, sometimes personal information, such as someone's cause of death, is not announced immediately by their family or the authorities. When a cause of death has not been officially confirmed, we do not report on rumors. Every family has a right to their privacy. Musician Vic Flick died November 14, 2024, of complications from Alzheimer's disease at the age of 87. He was best known for his iconic guitar playing on the James Bond theme song. Flick is also being remembered for his work as a session musician in 1960s England, playing on hit songs by artists like Tom Jones, Petula Clark, and Dusty Springfield. Entertainer and activist Sir Lady Java died November 16, 2024 in Los Angeles. She died of natural causes at the age of 82. She was a popular singer and dancer in the Los Angeles LGBTQ club scene of the 1960s and 70s. Java is being remembered as an early transgender activist for her work to overturn LA's anti-cross-dressing ordinance in 1969. Musician and songwriter Andy Paley died November 20, 2024 after fighting throat cancer at the age of 72. He was a member of the power pop group the Paley Brothers in the 1970s, and he went on to collaborate with Brian Wilson on his 1988 comeback album and on unreleased music in the 90s. Paley is also being remembered for composing many songs for SpongeBob SquarePants, including Best Day Ever, as well as composing for cartoons like The Ren and Stimpy Show and Digimon. Pastor Tony Campolo died November 19, 2024 at the age of 89. He was a Baptist preacher who co-founded Red Letter Christians, a group focused on issues of social justice mentioned by Jesus in the Bible. Campolo is also being remembered as a spiritual advisor to President Bill Clinton. Politician John Prescott died November 20, 2024, after suffering from Alzheimer's disease at the age of 86. He was Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in the 1990s and 2000s, serving under Prime Minister Tony Blair. Prescott is being remembered as an icon of the Labour Party and a friend to the working class. Publisher John Reg Murphy died November 9, 2024, at his home in St. Simons Island, Georgia, at the age of 90. He was the editor of the Atlanta Constitution in 1974 when he was famously kidnapped and held for a $700,000 ransom. Murphy is also being remembered for his later career as editor and publisher of the San Francisco Examiner and publisher and CEO of the Baltimore Sun. In addition to featuring current deaths in the news, Legacy.com also honors the lives and legacies of notable people who died in the past. Here are some of this week's anniversaries. 7 years ago this week, actor and musician David Cassidy died at the age of 67. He was a teen idol of the 1970s as the star of the Partridge Family, and he had pop hits like Cherish and How Can I Be Sure? 22 years ago this week, actor James Coburn died at the age of 74. He was an action star of the 60s and 70s, known for such movies as Our Man Flint, The Magnificent Seven, and Duck You Sucker. 26 years ago this week, actress Esther Roll died at the age of 78. She was a 1970s sitcom star, playing Florida Evans in Maude and its spin-off Good Times. 30 years ago this week, singer and bandleader Cab Calloway died at the age of 86. He was a superstar of the swing era, known for his scat singing on songs like Minnie the Moocher. 61 years ago this week, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated at the age of 46. He was the 35th President of the United States, known for his leadership during the Cold War, founding the Peace Corps, and committing the U.S. space program to landing on the moon. 64 years ago this week, actor Clark Gable died at the age of 59. He was a great star of Hollywood's golden age, known for his starring role as Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind and his Oscar-winning performance in It Happened One Night. Actor and filmmaker Harold Ramis was born 80 years ago this week. He died in February 2014 at the age of 69. He was a star of Ghostbusters and directed such movies as Caddyshack and National Lampoon's Vacation. Singer and songwriter Gene Clark was born 80 years ago this week. He died in May 1991 at the age of 46. He was a founding member of the Byrds, known for folk rock classics like 8 Miles High and Turn, Turn, Turn. Actor Dan Haggerty was born 82 years ago this week. He died in January 2016 at the age of 73. He was best known for playing the rugged title character in the movie and TV show The Life and Times of Grizzly Adams. Actress Geraldine Page was born 100 years ago this week. She died in June 1987 at the age of 62. She won an Oscar for her starring role in The Trip to Bountiful and appeared in movies like Hondo and Whatever Happened to Aunt Alice. Every week in the United States, flags are lowered to half-staff to honor the lives of Americans whose communities are mourning their loss. Here are the most recent half-staff memorial flag honors. Flags in Alabama have been lowered to honor the memory of former state representative James Buskey. Flags in Arkansas have been lowered to honor the memory of U.S. Army Sergeant Charles Edwin Beatty, who was reported missing in action while fighting in the Korean War. His remains were recently identified and returned home for burial. Flags in New Jersey have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Senator Jim Walwork. Flags in Massachusetts have been lowered to honor the memory of former State Representative Gloria Lavera Fox. Flags in Wisconsin have been lowered in recognition of the 3rd anniversary of the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade tragedy, and to honor the 6 individuals who were senselessly and tragically killed in the attack. Flags in Ohio have been lowered to honor the memory of City of Napoleon patrolman Tyler Murray, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Pennsylvania have been lowered to honor the memory of Pittsburgh Fire Battalion Chief John P. Walsh, who died in the line of duty. Flags in Connecticut have been lowered to honor the memory of former Governor M. Jody Rell. You can read more about the lives of the people featured in this video on Legacy.com. At Legacy.com, any family can publish an obituary in honor of a loved one's memory, online and in local newspapers everywhere. Just visit Legacy.com and select your local community. You can also follow Legacy.com on Facebook and subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to stay up to date on national news deaths.